name's Brad. If you're new here, welcome. Today what we're going to talk about is all about water, okay? Some of the most fun I've ever had in my Jeep has been going through water crossings, little stream crossings, that sort of thing. So it can be a ton of fun. However, it can also be one of the most dangerous things you do in your Jeep. So today we're going to talk about how to do it safely, things to consider before you go through water, and what to do if everything starts to go horribly wrong. So stick around and see what's coming next. Hey, I'm gonna go back and get a snack. You guys want anything? You're good? All right, man. I guess I gotta go down in that muck, huh? All right, so what I'd really like to do for this video is just set up a scenario, okay? You are out off-roading. You are in an area that's an established trail. You've maybe checked out some videos online. You know that there's gonna be some water crossings or there's gonna be some puddles. I knew this when we went to Roush Creek. I knew this at Northwest OHV Park. I knew this in just about any of the trails we go on. I research ahead of time and have an idea that yes, there are going to be water crossings. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing to consider is the weather recently. Has it rained a bunch? If it's been mostly dry and then you get rain a couple days before, this has happened to us several times, then you need to be aware of, you know what? Things might be deeper than that video I saw online, and you need to consider that. But let's say that you're out on the trail, you've done your research, and there it is, there's the water. What do you do next? So there are certain things that you need to consider anytime you are about to take your vehicle through any kind of water, any depth. Okay, the first has to do with the body of water you're moving through. How wide is it? How deep is it? What's on the bottom? Is it rock or is it mud? Is it really soft? Is the water moving water or is it just a static puddle? Moving water can be very, very strong. If you've been swimming out in the ocean and felt a rip current, if you've waded out into a deep stream and felt it pushing against your body, the same thing applies when you're in a vehicle and you've got that whole surface area that things are kind of pushing against. Is this a body of water that you've seen other vehicles go through or not? These should all be kind of filtering down through your brain and processing this information before you make any kind of decision to go out through that. If you are unable to answer how deep this water is, what's on the bottom, how fast is it moving, you need to stop and get out of your vehicle and do further investigation. And this, if you're out with your family and you've got young kids, is where you employ the kids. Get your youngest kid out there, well, within reason. This is where I say to Sammy, who's 8, hey bud, go see how deep that is for daddy, you know, and he'll go try to find a stick and throw it in or a rock, and we'll try to get some sense for how deep this water is. That's the very first thing you need to think about. The second thing you need to kind of check yourself on is your vehicle and how much water fording capability you have. What that means is how much water are you allowed to go through in this thing? What's it advertised? And that has to relate to kind of your air intake. Where is that air intake located in your engine? What's the advertised water fording capability? For a Jeep Grand Cherokee, it's 20 inches of water. For a WK2 anyway. So you need to be aware of those kinds of things. Also, you really need to keep in mind your speed in going through the water. Now, this can get kind of tricky. You don't want to go so slow that if it's muddy and a really soft, silty bottom, that you lose momentum, right? We need momentum in those circumstances to be able to keep going. If we just inch into that and stop an inch and stop an inch, what's going to potentially happen is that we lose traction and we get stuck just because of that. That would be too slow. Okay, we need forward progress, we need forward momentum. What we also don't want to do is the flip side of that. We don't want to have in our brains, man, this is going to look awesome. I'm going to get my buddy up there, he's got his camera out, and I'm going to go flying through this water. Water's going to spray up everywhere, and it'll be super exciting. Okay, something like this happened to us at Northwest OHV Park when one of the guys riding with us had his buddy go through the water, and I'll put a clip in right here. And what you saw in that video, if you're looking, is that he goes into the water, water sprays out to the side, but then what you're gonna start to see is that water actually got sucked up into his engine bay and started coming out through the grill in the front. That is not a good thing. What that means is indeed you have water that's penetrated up into your engine bay and potentially could have gotten into that air, the cool air intake or the air intake that feeds your engine. And if that has happened, you're in kind of a dangerous situation.
So the proper way to go through any kind of deep water crossing or water crossing is kind of just a slower, steady pace. And the aim of everything is that you want to ride behind the wake that kind of will develop in front of your Jeep. Okay, as you go into the water, you're gonna push water forward out in front of you, and you want to be just behind that because the water level there is just a little bit lower. So it's a way to kind of shave a few inches off of whatever depth you're going through.
So let's say that you did indeed proceed through water that either you didn't check or you went a little too fast and your engine stalls out. And so there you are sitting in the puddle or the stream. What do? Well, probably your first instinct is going to be to go ahead and try to start that engine again. Do not do that, okay? That is a horrible, horrible misstep, okay? If your engine has stalled out going through a puddle, it is safe to assume that water has gotten into your engine block, into your cylinders, that sort of thing. So do not try to start that engine. If you go to crank that engine, if you haven't already wrecked the internal components of your engine, you're just about to, because what you're going to do is crank that engine. It's going to try to fire and move those cylinders, and again, you're in a situation where you're trying to compress something that doesn't compress. Okay, that water's gonna, the cylinders are gonna try to, the pistons are gonna try to push that water. It's not gonna move, and you're gonna break stuff in your engine, and if that happens, more than likely you're looking at a new engine. So don't do that, okay? So what do? You're stalled out in the middle of a pond. Well, here is where you go to the buddy that you have with you, have them run a line to you, have them tow you out. Let's say you don't have a buddy with you, okay? Not to worry, okay? You should have a buddy with you, but if you don't, no big deal. What you're gonna do then is pull out the winch line that you have with you, because why in the world would you be doing anything on your own without a winch? So go ahead and get out of your car, grab that winch line, find a tree, nice tree hugger strap, and go ahead and use your winch to help pull you out of that water. You say, Brad, I don't have a winch and I am by myself. Okay, in this situation, turn to whoever's seated with you in the car and just tell them, I did a very stupid thing. So go ahead and do that. And if you don't have somebody to tell that to, then my friend, you are in a horrible position, because what that means is you are out on the trail by yourself without anybody else with you, and you just did a really, really stupid thing. If that's you and that's the situation you're in, good luck. Good luck, okay? You still don't want to start that car up again. You need to try to flag down somebody else on the trail. You need to call, get on the phone, get some help. But you're in a world of hurt, and it's just maybe an appropriate time to acknowledge that, but try not to make things worse for yourself. But let's say that's not you. You had a buddy with you, you have a winch, you are able to get out of that puddle, or maybe you made it through the puddle and then your engine cut off. What I'm gonna do now is show you what you need to check in your engine bay
before you go ahead and crank that engine up to try to clear any potential water that's been in there. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so you got yourself out of the water. You open your hood. More than likely what you're going to see here is lots of steam coming up from your engine bay, just because all the mud and muck that's been kind of coming up through it and spraying out. You're going to want to go ahead and find where your air filter is. My air filter is right here. There's a couple clips there on the side that I can kind of use to get to. So I come around here, undo those clips, and then what I'm going to go ahead and do is find my air filter and pull it out. So this is what your air filter looks like. So I pull my air filter out, and more than likely it's going to be wet if I've just had an engine stalled. So you're going to want to check that thoroughly. And actually, if you look here at mine, let me show you. Right here you can see that there is kind of a water stain. So at some point when I was going through some of these water crossings, a little bit of water did penetrate into my air filter, which obviously isn't a good thing. After you look at that air filter, you're going to want to go ahead and look inside, make sure there's no water in there. Again, any water in this system, when you go to start up your engine again, is just going to get sucked into your engine. After you've checked the air filter, you need to come over to your engine and kind of pull the covers off and then remove your spark plugs. The reason you want to take out the spark plugs is because we need to relieve pressure within the engine block. Once those spark plugs are out and the air filter has been removed, I can go ahead and try to turn over my engine. And when I do this, my piston should hopefully move, and that should push the water that's any water in the cylinders or in the engine itself should come spraying out those holes. You want to be fairly confident that you were able to clear the water out of the engine. And guys, realistically at this point, it's kind of fair to recognize that your day is over, okay? And you know, if you can get towed home, towed out of here, that's the safest thing to do. If for some reason you are in a position where you have to try to drive this thing, once you've done all of that, you've tried to clear the water out of the engine block, you can put the spark plugs back in. Once the air filter has been dried out, you can put that back in and go ahead and try to start your engine. If you're in luck, your engine will start and you can kind of limp back home. But just be aware once you're home that you really need to check all the fluids, the oil, the new air filter, the whole deal.
All right, everyone, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already subscribed to our videos, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and we'll see you again real soon.